Well, hello, 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 hello. A warm welcome to this third episode of Graphversation. My name is Siddhant, your host for this season, this episode, this entire series. I'm super excited to bring to you the third episode of Graphversation, a monthly dose of inspiration and knowledge around graphs. We talk everything about graphs and graph technology out here in this particular series. I'm super excited to talk to you once again over here. So, based on the time zone that you are logged in, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And with this, let's get started with the third episode. All right. Before I begin, let me just give a quick round of introduction about Neo4j. If for those who are very new to the Neo4j and what we do, so what Neo4j is, it's a graph database and analytics company. Well, the idea was conceived on a flight to Mumbai. That's an interesting fact. I am an Indian, and I'm really proud of the fact that Neo4j has a very strong Indian connection. The company was started in 2007. That's a long, long back. We started as an open source edition, and then we transformed ourselves as an open core model, where we have a free open source community edition and a closed source enterprise edition. You can access us on desktop or on Docker, or we're also available on cloud platforms like Google Cloud Platform, AWS, Azure, etc. Well, we recently launched the Neo4j version 5 that was in November 2022 last year and soon to come. Okay, who wants to win this awesome Neo4j t-shirt? I'm sure you all are excited, but you have to do something for me, which is tweet. Tweet about how you are excited about this session. Make sure you tag me, that's my Twitter handle, and Neo4j. Do use this hashtag, graphs are everywhere. With this, let's dive into the third episode of Graphversation. Do check out the previous two episodes as well. It's available in the same playlist. We have created a separate playlist called Graphversation. You can check it on our YouTube handle. But with this, we are starting with the third episode, where we have Neha Setia Nakpal, who is a developer advocate at Zeit. And she's going to talk about next level personalization, how web scraping and graph databases empower recommendation engines. Let me bring Neha to the stream. Hi Neha, how are you doing?
Hi, Siddhant. I'm doing good. Thanks. I hope you're doing
Great,
well
great,
too.
doing good. It's great to have you over here for this conversation. I'm super, super excited on how this conversation goes around graphs. This is a really interesting topic about web scraping and how graph databases can come together and power recommendation engines. Really looking forward to it. Before we really dive into your topic for the day, we're going to talk about scraping and graph databases powering recommendation engines. I would love to know more about you. You and I know each other, but for this is primarily for the audience out there. I'd love to
Yeah.
know more about you. You work with Zeit. I have used Zeit in the past. That was called
Yeah.
as Scraping Hub, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Uh, and there was a web
Yeah.
scraper.
Scraping
I
hub.
use
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I use it for a project,
Yeah.
a small project out there. I didn't know back then that web scraping is this exciting. The company has transformed into Zeit now. So I would
Yeah.
let you introduce yourself and do the honors of letting us know what Zeit is, what you do at Zeit, and a little about yourself as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Um. So yeah. So this is me. Juggling between many roles. And namaste, everyone. I often use the word namaste to greet everyone since the time I've gotten to know the meaning of namaste. And like for those who don't know, it means like universe in me bows down to the universe in you, and it feels so powerful to start any conversation or session with namaste for me. So once again, namaste everyone. So yeah, you can see on the screen I'm a young mom, partner. I love photography, writing, and putting it down on Instagram sometimes, right? And I'm passionate about subjects like self-actualization, systems thinking, and I love stories and I love telling them, right? And for me, these conversations are much more deep than talking just about the projects, solutions, or products. I am currently reading a book called The Extended Mind by
Nice.
Annie Murphy Paul. And there's a quote from the chapter, right? Human nature is 90% chimp and 10% bees, like ultra social creatures who are able to think and act as one for the good of the group. So, like, and he mentioned something about a psychological trigger when a lot of people come together in a situation like this, like a high switch, right? He mentioned like turning on this high switch, our minds shift from individual focus to the group focus, from I to we mode. And I see these webinars, and talking to you, Siddhant, as well, right? I see these conversations and events as opportunities to think and tackle a brain together on a subject, to extending our individual minds with the group to which we belong. So thank you so much, Siddhant, for inviting me to this webinar. And I know you've been my mentor in this space. So thank you so much. I hope in today's session I'm able to bring out a facilitate or instigate or tickle you guys on something interesting. So yeah.
Yes, definitely. We are
So
looking forward to it.
yeah. So in short, like about Zeit, we eat data for breakfast, right? So yeah. So if I think
I had got
most of you might
got the data
know. Yeah.
Sorry.
So yeah. Yeah, so basically, Scrapey, right? Like it's the largest open source web scraping framework, and in fact, like I was so excited to join Zeit because I used Scrapey in the very first project that I did with IBM. So Zeit is basically born out of Scrapey, and given our 10 years of experience in this industry, we saw and learned multiple challenges around web scraping, and we combined those into a product, which is Zeit API. Like it's a one-stop solution for all the web scraping needs. And now we have also introduced Zeit Enterprise. So we have combined the best tech at Zeit. We have combined the best tech, Zeit API, a single API to build, break, fix, ban problems in the web scraping, in the large scale web scraping, along with the developer consulting and the compliance guidelines to address the top challenges. So basically, Zeit's on a mission to connect the data enthusiast with quality, reliable web data at any scale without coding hassles. Yeah. So
Nice.
that's basically like Zeit is about.
Pretty interesting. I started my career with Sai. Oh, sorry, not with Sai. Sorry, I started my career with IBM. So we share a mutual
Yeah.
connect over there. My second job, after left IBM, the second job which I chose, in that I chose Scrapy as a tool to scrape some of the pharmaceutical, not pharmaceutical, more of like it was a drug regulation platform. I was trying to figure out, okay, if there is US FDA, what are the guidelines and laws over there? If there's European FDA, what's there? If it is Chinese FDA, what's there? If it is Indian FDA, what's there? And put together like a drug regulatory intelligence platform under one roof. Um, because it was tough
Lovely.
for anyone to figure out if I manufacture a drug, will it can I export it out there in US? Can I export it out there in Europe? Can I export it out there in Australia? Can I export it in India? Wherever you are manufacturing, you can manufacture from the local standpoint, but can you export them? Is it relevant for those countries or not? So that was all about, and Scrappy really helped me a lot back then in finding all the information. It was a challenge, to be honest, because I had to write so many scrapers out there. Every website used to work in a different way. Uh, Everything was like not
Yeah.
regular standard format. I had to write multiple scrapers, but and I was doing this along with a colleague of mine, and he was also pivotal in this entire journey and building that entire platform. So really great work over there. But unfortunately, I don't think so. It's anymore in function after I left. Nonetheless,
Hmm.
I'm curious, and more than me, there are people who will be curious. Like, we're talking about web scraping. Is it like some rocket science, or is it something which is easier, or what is it? What is web scraping all about? It's just like you just go to a website, you start finding some keywords, and then you whatever it is written over there, you just copy paste and put it into a CSV file or a PDF file or a Word file. Is it something like that?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I'm glad you shared your story of Scrapey because I also like share the similar story. And you got to try Zeit API if you're facing a lot of issues now. Now, if for a next web scraping project, like do try Zeit API. But yeah, let me
Okay.
just give you a brief about yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about my first Scrapey project some other time maybe. But like yeah for so let's just so are you experiencing Monday blues? Do
No,
you?
actually, no. This is what is happening is there's some audio lag over there.
Okay, okay. Let me just.
Yeah,
Am I audible now? Is it
you
better?
are. But I think my audio is reaching to you a little later because of the internet. That's fine. We can continue the
Okay,
conversation.
okay. I'm sorry. So I'm really sorry for this internet issue, but yeah, I'm enjoying it, and like I'll try to make it like fun. So I was asking Siddhant, like, are you experiencing Monday blues?
Okay, I thought since my audio was coming late, you're asking me whether I'm experiencing Monday blues, that I'm responding late. I am kind of experiencing Monday
No.
blues. To be honest, we had a Friday off because we have so in
Yeah.
Neo4j we have concept of quarterly wellness day. So
Ah,
Friday was a
nice.
quarterly off. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we got a long weekend to enjoy and relax and rejuvenate. So coming back on Monday to work, of course, you're feeling Monday blues for sure. Yes.
Okay, so let's dance it out. Like, I'm going to talk about web scraping. And I actually, when I was, preparing for this PPT, so like a dance move came to my mind. So for audience who don't know about web scraping and the challenges it involves, and of course, I'm going to talk about the challenges a little more deeper when we get into the use case of the story part of the webinar. But for now, like, let me show you. Let's dance out the Monday blues. So, what is web scraping? So, have you ever copy pasted? Have you ever copy pasted like a travel itinerary from a favorite travel vlogger into your, Notion or Notes app, or maybe have you copied any recipe from a favorite food blogger to your notebook or to a recipe template that you have? So, well, you have done web scraping, right?
Lot
So
of time.
basically, Siddhant, so you have done web scraping, okay? Maybe it's at a very small scale, but you have. So you want to do a little dance moment? Like what is it?
Sure.
So it's like a
Let
control C, control V, control C, control V.
I've added some music to it.
Am I audible?
You are. You
Okay.
are.
Yeah. Why not? I know I'm not. Sorry. My bad. But can you just imagine and play like a favorite song in your head and do this control C and control V? Any songs coming to your mind, Siddhant? Well,
No.
so basically,
Don't
uh, anyways, I think like it's good enough exercise to get us out of the comfort like Monday blue zone. So basically, I'll give a quick walkthrough of what web scraping is. So let's just say you. So I'll take it with one website, right? Like you want to crawl. So you want to extract data from a particular website, right? Like maybe take an example of books2scrape.com, right? Or any example, any website, like you want to extract data, like any e-commerce website, you want to extract product IDs, product images, product URL, like things like that, right? So what do you do is like basically these are the steps that you follow behind the scenes. So you request a web page, you crawl and discover what all URLs you want to crawl further, and you want to extract data on further, and then you download that web page, right? You parse that web page, and using if you're using Scrapy, you use CSS selectors or XPath selectors, you extract the relevant data that you want and you store it somewhere, right? So basically that's the web scraping part of it. And honestly, now I'll talk about a little bit about my first project, right? And when I thought about like web scraping, I don't know what, like how hard it could be, right? You just making a request, you're downloading the page, you're extracting the data, and you're storing it somewhere. How hard it could be. And until I joined Zeit, and I got to know that there are multiple challenges involved in large scale web scraping, so if the websites experience multiple requests from you after a certain point of time, you start experiencing IP rate limitation, and website starts blocking you, banning you, right? So um, so you won't be able to access data, and for that you need like a advanced tech stack, which I'm going to talk about later in the slides, which is relevant to the talk. So for now, just understand like you would need multiple levels of technology stacks, starting from like you need a proxy rotation management solution, right? If you don't manage that, because like your entire data extraction or data collection project may turn into a proxy management project, right? And beyond that, like the entire web is now dynamic, right? It's like the data is mostly in the script tags, right? You need a browser automation tool to run that script and get the data, the relevant data, and then you would need advanced anti-bans. The like, companies have protected their websites with like advanced anti-ban mechanisms, so you would need an anti-bot system as well, right? So these are the
Right.
couple of challenges you come across, and then humans need to sleep, right? So if you're scraping, or if uh, your data extraction project needs like months or weeks to run, you need a cloud infrastructure as well, so humans can sleep. So basically, like it's like a multi-tech stack project. It becomes a multi-tech stack project, and like the major problem and the challenge that you face in that process of building a large scale web scraping project is integration of these elements and the cost, right? So we're gonna dive in deeper into this, but yeah.
Yes,
So
definitely.
these are some of the
I'm
challenges you face when you experience, when you're like going after large scale web scraping and large scale data extraction projects, which is the need of the art, like because you have to maybe train the you have to do data analysis on it, you have to train machine learning models or neural networks, which needs like billions of data.
got it. Interesting. And I'm also very curious to know. So I know I have used
Hello,
Scrapy before. Uh,
Siddhant?
and then Neo4j, which is a graph database platform, graph database and analytics platform. I'm curious to know how the two can come together, and help you build a recommendation engine. That's what I'm more curious about. I've never seen anything like this coming before. All I know is that okay, you have a raw data available, you start putting it into graph database, and then you do wonders with graph database. But I think scraping is more of like a stage before your raw data, like your basically your raw data extraction. So I'm curious to know like how you can really extract this quality raw data, less cleaning, less pre-processing to be done. So
The collection, the storage part of it.
yes.
Yeah,
So tell
the
me more about
storage
that.
before the storage part of it, like
Correct. So tell me
yeah,
more about
I
that.
think like the data collection. Okay. So yeah, so it's basically like on the left side of the pipeline, and it's like most underrated step, I say, in the entire process, right? And I'm gonna explain it to you how. And so my way of going about things is like I'm a big fan of thinking in systems, right? And first principles thinking. So I'm gonna like walk you through like this step by step process of understanding this part where web scraping and graph databases can power recommendation engines. So I'll tell you like like for the audience here, when I'm talking about thinking in systems, you might be thinking I'm talking about a subject, engineering subject, systems and design thinking. Well, not. Thinking in systems is basically. So I just want to clarify for the audience So thinking in systems is basically a discipline for seeing wholes, right? So like you are a system and you are a whole, right? It's a framework for seeing interrelationships rather than things for seeing patterns of change rather than a static snapshots. So basically, to quote Buddha, all things appear and disappear because of a concurrence of causes and conditions. Nothing ever existed entirely alone. Everything is in relation to everything else. So basically, synthesis of or approaching any problem is about understanding the whole and the parts at the same time, right? Along with the relationships and the connections that make up the dynamics of the whole system. So I'm going to talk you through this another perspective of looking at recommendations through understanding the parts and the elements, and we will see like where we lack in understanding ourselves or the systems around us and the problems around us as whole, right? So you can power up not even your recommendation engines, but like uh, any problem you're tackling. So basically, this concept is that has been picked up from a book called Thinking in Systems. It's by Donella Meadows, if anyone is interested in knowing about it. So, just to align, a quick glossary on thinking in systems. Yeah. And Siddhant, you can tell me if I'm not audible or something is wrong.
No, no, you're good. Good.
Okay, cool, cool. So as of now, everyone with me, right? So
Yes.
thinking in systems glossary is basically like it's a brief of systems thinking in systems. So every system consists of elements which are tangible and intangible components that work together. And I'm going to explain it with examples, right? And there are interconnections. How these parts or elements are connected, it describes the relationship within the core system and how this relationship aids in achievement of a purpose of a system, right? And the third and the most important part is the purpose and the goal of this system. And the last part is the feedback loop, right? So if so I call it, if you're thinking in terms of graphs, Siddhant keeps saying that the graphs are everywhere. And if you read physics and self-actualization books, so the universe and the things around us, the things that we see, they're all collection of graphs, right? And hence I think graphs are better and a closer representation of the world around us, because there are elements and they also help in seeing those relationship and describing those relationship between these elements, right? And hence the problems that we face in day-to-day lives can be better visualized with the graphs, unless we find a or invent a better data structure to represent it. As of now, graphs are the best way to represent this kind of information, right? So yeah. So any doubts so far? So you can
No, I
see
think
if you cool. So if you see, if you start thinking in graphs, basically, so the elements, you can draw an analogy where elements are nodes, right? And interconnections can be the relationship between those nodes. Yeah. So if we talk about the recommendation system, right? And and I've seen this in my so I've been doing a lot of coachings, and like I've been mentoring a lot of going to sessions, talking to a lot of developers, right? Like I think, and I think the core where we miss seeing ourselves or the systems or the problems as whole is like we don't define the purpose of anything that we do, right? Like defining the why of why we are doing anything we are doing. And so let's just like agree upon what is the purpose of a recommendation system before getting into the elements of the recommendation system, right? So for any recommendation system, there comes a data in, any sorts of data, right? With relationship, right? Which increase engagement, right? Increased sales or enhanced user experience through better personalization and enhanced discoverability, right? We understand all of these terms, right? Personalization and discoverability. You might have gone to, like, you might have seen recommendations engines around you in your systems. On your OTT platforms, you're getting recommendation systems on movie, music apps. Like you're getting recommendation according to your taste, the ads that you see, the YouTube recommendations that you see. So recommendations are everywhere, right? And the whole purpose of the recommendations is basically like to provide the personalization and the enhanced discoverability. So personalization happens, but that also this algorithm keeps you in bubble, right? And like we will understand like how we can also empower, how can we also accommodate the enhanced discoverability part of the recommendation systems as well. But first, let's just understand the traditional recommendation system, right? What all elements does it have? So Siddhant, like I'm not able to like interact with the audience, so maybe I'll interact with you. Maybe like we can just have the traditional recommendation system that you would see on the screen. Now I'll take an example of baking a cake. Yeah. So
Okay.
if you want to bake cake, Siddhant, for someone special in your life, maybe your wife, right? How does the process look like of baking a cake? You want to walk it through with me?
First thing, I will not do that. Just kidding. Uh, okay, first thing is arranging or finding all the ingredients. The next
Yeah.
could be okay, but I think before that I would need to go and check a recipe. I'm good with cooking, but I have never baked a cake before. That's why I said I will not do that in the first place
Anyways, I'm,
because
I'm I'm gonna teach you so you can surprise your wife. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so basically like you will start with, like you want to surprise your wife, right? You don't want to make her feel good. So that's the point, that's the purpose why you're doing it, right?
right.
Now, like the next step would be like deciding which cake that you want to bake for her. It was like this chocolate ganache, or like if she likes, she's into fruits, or like if you want to bake a fruits cake, what kind of a cake that you would want to bake for her. And then deciding on that, like you will then decide on the recipe or find a recipe on the internet, right, to support you in baking in the baking process, right? After like deciding on the recipe, you will go and get the ingredients. Yeah.
That's right.
Now, after getting those ingredients, you have to prepare them, right? Like dry ingredients and then wet ingredients, and then you them together, right? And then you put them in a baking dish, and then you bake it in the oven. Yeah. And then obviously when the cake is done, so you present it to your wife, and she's gonna decide if it's gonna, taste if it tastes good, or it tastes bad, right? Now, what do you see? So now I want to, I want to and extend this concept or this context to like you owning a bakery and you're a pastry chef. How would you, what would you see, what all elements are missing in the process when you talked about, baking a cake at home for your wife, wherein like there comes a bakery now, and now you run a bakery and you're a pastry chef. How can you improve on this process of baking a cake? How will you take into
Maybe.
account all the large scale complexities and different things, supply chain, you have to manage?
Yeah, that's a good question. And probably one more thing which will come to my mind is how can I maintain a consistency that the cake tastes the same for the next 1 year at least, because you'll see they'll be changing ingredients. So I would,
Love it.
as a bakery shop owner, I would rather think about consistency. Sorry to say that, but yeah, but
Yeah.
yes, definitely
No,
good
that's
question.
true, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean it's true, right? Like you would want to maintain that consistency, right? Like if like and like if you, so basically like you will start with, any chef would start with, if they want to enhance the taste of their current products, they will start with buying the good quality raw material, right?
but yeah,
Right. And so now with scale, uh you can go buy eggs, and you can go buy, whole wheat flour or whole flour, or you would buy like various ingredients, fruits, right, chocolate, and you would also want to store them properly because you're buying them in bulk, and you don't want to you don't want to like give stale food to your customers, right? You would also want to store them properly, properly, so they have a longer shelf life. Yeah.
True.
And the third thing that you mentioned, like the consistency in the taste, right? Now if you're like, let's just say, if you're new into the base, okay, the sugar is more, it's less frosty or things like that, right? You will add in those features in the next iteration, and for like maybe 6 months to 1 year, you will like improve on your recipes and until you fix them, right? So there's a continuous like feedback loop going on in the system, right? And there's a context, right? That you want to be the best pastry chef in the town. You want to have a best bakery in the town. So
Correct.
I hope this has already clarified where the web scraping part and the graph databases part come in together,
Right,
right?
right, right. And,
So
pretty interesting.
yeah,
Pretty interesting over here is the fact that as a bakery owner, there would also be a question in the mind that how much should I produce in a day? What are the most favorite choices of consumers?
lovely.
If I
Yeah,
have five different flavors, out of those five different flavors, which are the flavors which consumers pick the most? How many quantity should I maintain for those flavors? Like, there could be
yeah,
possibility that they're making them in advance, bake them in advance, and of course it's a days produced. But um,
yeah,
how to make sure that whatever I am making for that particular day uh, should get consumed in the entire day, and there should not be any leftovers, which are the most favorite picks of consumers. uh, Within those picks, how many should I really be thinking about producing in a day, or keeping a buffer of plus minus of five
lovely.
or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So if we have to draw an analogy now on a recommendation system, right?
Yes.
Like where do you think like the data collection part, the web scraping part fit in, and the graph databases part fit in, right? All of these things that you mentioned, right? Going out and buying good quality raw material, like so for any system, if you see, like, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? Your output of any system is as good as the data is going in the system, right? And I don't understand like why the data collection phase, it's most underrated step of this entire pipeline, right? And you rightly mentioned about these small things that a bakery owner has to keep in mind on a day-to-day basis, right? Like if I have to draw an analogy on like that on the similar lines that the on the similar problem statement that you mentioned on keeping the uh, cakes fresh for a longer period of time, how do you maintain that supply, how do you maintain those ingredients? So if you have to draw analogy on in this entire system with the web scraping part, right, you would want a good quality raw material in the first place, yes, right? And then you would also want to make
True.
sure how much of you or how much of those ingredients do you want in your day-to-day needs, right? And after how much time do you need to refresh those ingredients, right? So there are multiple challenges, and like you can't just keep bringing them in and you don't have a space to store them. But then next point comes in is like, how do you store them properly also? Now you can store them in basically relational databases as well, but the point is, like, how would you store the complexities that the data is bringing in? How do you store those relationship between the data, the relationship between the ingredients in a relationship database? So basically, three steps, right? Three takeaways from this example is to account the large scale of the data, maintain the quality of the data, and the complexities in terms of the relationship of the real world in the system. Graph databases offer much more natural representation of this kind of a data, right? And data collection phase basically is the most underrated step, and we will see how we can improve on these things. So 3 points: the data collection phase, storing the data in a database that offers much more natural representation of the data, which is better fit for modern web data, much more flexible, that can adapt with the dynamicity of the web, more efficient in handling and representing complex data, right? And the third and the most important one, starting the mission, starting every project or every system, keeping the systems thinking in systems in mind, and defining the purpose of the uh, purpose statement of the problem, keeping in mind the context and the use case, and design the system accordingly. So these are basically the three, to summarize, three takeaways from this example to improve the system. Now, yeah, so it's like a just a short meme on something that we talked about, that nobody talks about the data quality, right? We hire data engineers, we hire data scientists, we hire data analytics, but who owns the data quality? So that's where, like, it brings me to the next step. And also explained all of these challenges in large scale web scraping. So before we move on, any doubts, Siddhant? Like,
I'm
anything you
good.
would
Like
like
I'm
to comment
I'm
on?
totally
Okay,
good
cool.
now. It's a really nice parallel between a bakery and web scraping. But yes, I'm
Yeah.
all good. I'm looking forward to.
And
I'm
not,
very very
yeah, not just
curious.
web scraping. Sorry?
Yeah, I'm actually very curious about web scraping and graph database. So I'm looking forward to that for now. I'm just holding on myself
Yeah,
to not ask anything further and let
yeah.
you do the talking and talk about
So,
scraping and then graph databases.
now you might have an idea, like, of where the web scraping. So basically, like, imagine yourself like sitting in a cockpit, and like there are multiple plugs and switches that you have to pull. Now,
Right.
like, we are working on the input side of the system, right? Where you can like improve on your data quality with the like good web scraping tools that support your system, that supports your large scale, that can help in maintenance, right? That will take away all the pain of large scale web scraping, large scale data extraction part of it, and also like storing the data that you just collected in a database that's a better representation of the real world, right? Which is graph database like Neo4j, right? So that's where, like, these two plugs, tweaking these two plugs, can power your recommendation engine. And now we'll see how, part of it, now that we understood where these pieces fit in the puzzle. Yeah. Now,
Yes.
talking about the challenges in the large scale web scraping, um, basically, like I mentioned, right? The moment you, so it feels like, yeah, what's in scraping, right? So when you start scraping web, like, you need a basic scraping framework, right? And then, like, when you start making more requests, like, let's just take, if you are scraping, like, you want to scrape 1,000 or 100 target websites for your project, like, you would encounter issues like proxy. um, you would need a proxy management tool. And as I mentioned earlier as well, like, the entire data is dynamic. The entire web is dynamic in nature, so you would need a browser automation tool um, in in running those scripts and getting the data from it. And as you scale further, like, companies have employed lots of anti ban measures. So you would need an anti ban tool um, to handle those bans. And then, like, and humans need to scrape, like, humans need to sleep. So you would need, like, you need to schedule your deploy your spider on cloud so that it can run and scrape, like, the entire data that you want. So with these increased complexity, increased cost, there are other major challenges, like in integrating all of these. You would also want to find a tool like a scraping framework, which is Scrapy. With Scrapy, like, you would need multiple tools to integrate: proxy rotation tool, browser automation tool, anti-ban tools, and a cloud infrastructure. So, multiple solutions, high cost, and quality and maintenance becomes an issue when you're managing so many layers of like softwares or techs in large scale web scraping. So to remove that, That's why like Zeit introduced Zeit API. So now you can see this, the proxy, browser automation, anti-ban, they're all reduced in one, right? Now you would just, like if you see in terms of the process, like your entire process of building a large scale web data extraction solution, web scraping solution, reduced to three steps, right? And it has taken the pain of the proxy, browser automation, and anti-ban measures. I'm going to give you a small demo on how we can do that. So basically, that's the challenge. That's how you can improvise on the system by using tools like Zeit API that supports large scale web scraping, and that can help you extract the quality data from the web that you need, that's relevant to your needs, right? Now so that's the graph. So these are the and that's, if you look at the element now, if you compare the traditional recommendation system with this one, this is the data collection module, and that's where the web scraping fit in, and maybe the data lake or the relationship databases, and the next step is like the graph databases, or also you can skip the relational databases step, or you can entirely like create graph databases from your data lake, like from your Neo4j. Yeah, so basically these are the elements, and that's where the web scraping and the graph databases fit in the system. Now, uh, to summarize, this is the purpose of a recommendation system, and as I mentioned, like to increase engagement, improved sales and conversation, and enhanced user satisfaction through personalization and enhanced discoverability. Now, like that's where like the graph databases come into picture, right? Uh, Graph databases like Neo4j, right? They can help you store deeper relationship between the elements, right? They can help you handle efficiently the complex relationship, and we also encountered the feedback loop, right? So these because graph databases like Neo4j are schemaless, right? Any new data types or relationships that you are discovering through web scraping or the data collection part of it, you can easily store, and you can easily incorporate those relationship in your Neo4j graph database. And as I mentioned, the web is inherently a graph, with pages and as nodes, and links as edges. You can store the entire web data in graph database, which also allows you to preserve this structure, which can help you uncover, identify the valuable patterns that you can't see, right? You can write complex queries in Neo4j and understand and discover the deeper relationships between different elements of a system that you're building, different elements of the problem statement that you're trying to solve. And like also, if you use if you do of the data like a user or user item, and it goes beyond that, because Neo4j also allows you to create your new relationships, right? Visualize new relationship and how these two elements are related with each other. And I'm going to explain to you all of this in a small demo that I've created for you guys. So basically that like the whole point is to if you now you see, like if you were giving like a simple matrix representation for collaborative filtering or content based filtering to your ML system or AI powered recommendation or non AI powered recommendation engine, right? And versus you are feeding into your system like the relationships, and how these nodes are interlinked with each other, and you have created your own relationship in this database, and that you're feeding that to train your ML models. Obviously it will enhance the discoverability, right? It will go beyond the regular user or user item algorithm to power that. So that's where the power of the graph databases like Neo4j comes into picture. So
Nice.
yeah, to
Can
conclude
you
these 4 points, the purpose of the system. And sorry.
can you hear me, Neha? I'm audible.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So I think we are actually running short on time. Do you want to also give an example and jump onto the demo part, and we can also look at how it works in
Yeah,
action? How we can do a web
yeah,
scraping and then put the data
yeah,
into a
sure.
database and then do the visualization. I think we'll be. I'm looking forward to that. Actually, I'm I'm just holding on. As I said, like I've been holding on since the start because I'm very curious about
Okay.
the demo right.
Yeah. Lovely. So I'm gonna quickly walk through the demo so that we also have time for like Q&A and discuss further, right? So basically, we have seen book recommendation system. We have seen recommendation systems of all types. So we decided that we're gonna start with a purpose statement, right? So this is a purpose statement of any book recommendation system, and if you read the text in the bold, uh, sorry, if you read the text in the board, like personalized reading journey tailored to users real time needs. So this idea is so basically, like, I'm a big fan of Headway app, uh, so which creates a learning path, 21 days for, like, understanding the money related issues, or 21 days for understanding understanding thinking in systems. So like a tailored user path, but they're like one sort of a path, right? And it may not fit in for everyone. So I've created a small demo to actually scrape data from the web using Zeit API. Yeah. And I created my own relationships. I created like user journey paths of different users, how they are approaching a particular like for me, like self help or self actualization um, subject is really interesting. So from this books, like, I'm gonna show you the demo one second. um, are you able to see my screen?
1 second. I'll just share it again. Should be out there.
Okay, I hope
Yes.
yeah, 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 right. So so from this website, I have actually scraped philosophy books in the category of philosophy, psychology, spirituality, and self-help, right? Using Zeit API. So if you are interested in, like, signing up for Zeit API and see it for yourself, this is how the platform looks like, and you can enter any URL here and you can request. So I'm using toscrape.com. So if I put books2scrape.com here, I can request, and you can see uh, like uh, here's a response that you get. Like, without writing any code, you will get a response. You can also see the code snippet. You can call for the API, right? For this particular purpose, I have written a code. And I'm gonna share and put it on the GitHub so you can all access it. So basically, like, these
Great.
are the categories of the books that I've scraped, written a code to scrape all of them. So in the settings.py file, so if you're using Zeit API, you need to make some small settings. You need to you need to add these settings in the scrapey settings.py file. Here you enter the Zeit API key, and I've run the code for you. So that's how the data looks like. So I have tweaked that data, and I have imported it into the Neo4j graph, right? So basically, the whole point is the context of this problem is basically to help me create learning paths for me, so that if I'm starting my journey on self-help or self-actualization, I want to see what all different users are experiencing, what all different users are reading books on. So I've written, like, so basically these I've created a I'll show you here, like, I hope you all can see my screen. So
Yes,
there are
yes, it
multiple
is visible.
books that has been imported in it, and I have created like a few relationships among them. And so these are the like starting from from this book, like people are following this particular path, starting from a New Earth book. Then it didn't start with you. Then the activities like Tao Te Ching, and then like they are also implementing them in four agreements, right? And then yeah, so and then they're ending and implementing that in the Thinking Fast and Slow book. So these are just like different paths. So starting from here, like a New Earth, so people are also following it, didn't start with you, and then meditations, and then like 8 keys to mental health. So graph databases like Neo4j can like provide a much more bandwidth for you to just store these kind of relationship. And now if I want to like if I want to get the recommendation, like what all like users, what all learning paths user have taken on their self-help journey. So I've written a query here, and I've run that query, and it like gives me all the paths that user have taken from the meditation, and what all books to read next to go deeper in their self-actualization journey. And you can also visualize in the table format, and there's also a text format of all these paths that user have taken, so you can decide it for yourself. So basically, that's a small demo of building a recommendation system using Zeit API and graph databases. Just a small use case to help understand where the data quality part comes in, and why it's important, and how you can uh, mitigate all the challenges that you experience in large scale data extraction. And then how graph databases like gives a much richer representation to your problem statement, and the context, which is more important. The context of building your recommendation system, it actually captures that, and no relational databases capture that essence. Hence, yeah. So that's a quick demo. Sorry. I know we are short of time, so I've run it really fast. I'm sorry.
No, this is great.
And
This is
I'm gonna
great. Thank
Siddhant, I'm gonna like create an entire documentation and the code available. Maybe you can just put it in the show notes of the YouTube.
Super, great. That I can do. Well, this was really, really exciting, and also, so this the like while you were presenting, the random thought came into my mind was, um, I'm looking forward to see how we can automate this entire process where we scrape the data, and instead of generating a
Yeah,
CSV file, it automatically starts pushing it directly into the graph database and helps in
exactly.
building a stronger recommendation engine.
Engine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, if anyone of you out there would like to experiment this, go ahead and do this, and we'll love to have you in the next episode and showcase it.
I
Um,
know. It'll be a really
yeah,
interesting project, and like yeah, when to work on. And yeah, I've not seen any project like that yet.
yes, yes. I'm very curious if this can work out or not. If we can automate the entire process. So let's see how it goes. But I
Yeah,
think we are on time. We have 5 minutes left. So, but I have few things to cover up,
yeah,
which is how you can continue your graph journey. We have these amazing free self-paced hands-on training courses that you can take up, uh, built by our team, amazing folks out there in our team who are building these courses. So do check out graphacademy.neo4j.com, and we have two interesting certifications as well, Neo4j Graph Data Science Certification and Neo4j Certified Professional. To take up these certifications also would be really helpful for you in future. So go ahead and do it. And what's more, once you do the certification, you get a Neo4j T-shirt, a certified professional T-shirt at your doorstep. What's more you can ask for? Okay. The next thing is join our graph database user groups. If you're passionate about graphs or want to learn more about graphs, interested in learning how these graphs works, how the graph technology industry looks like, the technical sessions that we do with developers out there in various cities across the globe, you can check us out on this meetup.com/pro/neo4j. Join wherever city you you want to, wherever you are located nearby, if you wish to contribute to any of the meetups, uh, as a speaker, I have something for you in a while. But yes, if you wish to contribute as a volunteer, reach out to the organizers over there, reach out to me over DM, and I'm more than happy to help you out over there. And the next one is, if you want to speak at any of our meetups, we do a lot of virtual meetups as well, in-person talks, a lot of them. So based on your preference, your city, wherever you are, just submit this talk. Just submit this form, and we will map you to the right meetup group or the right opportunity. Reach out to you whenever there's some opportunity, and love to have you speak at our meetups. And about the Ninja program, this is a highly curated program of graph experts who are masters of graph. If you feel that yes, you are a master of graph and want to share your learnings out there with the developers, you want to get more platform, more opportunities to speak at various conferences, well, this is a great program for you. You should definitely try this out, and submit and reach us out on this. And I'm super excited to inform about Nodes 2023. Nodes 2023 is announced. It's happening on October 26th. For those of you who don't know, it's a virtual marathon. We did this last year, 24-hour virtual marathon of graph content. It started in Americas, ended in EMEA, and we were running it continuously for 24 hours to bring in the best of graph content for you, from beginner to intermediate to advanced. Everything is over there. It all connects at Notes. So CFP is live. If you want to speak at Notes, the deadline for call for proposals is June 30th. Make sure you submit on time. Don't miss the deadline. We are not extending the deadline, unlike last year. If you wish to just hear us out, register. Just go to dev.neo4j.com/notes23. And the same URL is where you can find the link to CFP form as well. And if you wish to stay connected with us or have any questions, any queries, check us out on Discord. We are available on Discord. Put your questions over there. We have multiple channels, multiple handles where you can post your queries and get it resolved quickly. Or if you wish, you can post it on the discourse forum as well. Get your queries resolved instantly. All right, so that's pretty much from our side. But there's one more thing which I would like to inform you about is the fourth episode or of Graphversation. But before that, thank you so much, Neha, for doing this third episode. It was really exciting to speak to you. We really enjoyed the conversation. I really enjoyed the conversation, and hopefully, people who will watch us later on YouTube, the recording will be available on YouTube for sure, so they can check us out. So I'm sure they're gonna enjoy this conversation as well. Well, have a great day. Have the great of the rest of the day, and we
Thank
look
you.
forward to meet again in person soon.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Thank you so
with
much,
this,
Siddhant, for giving me this opportunity again. I absolutely enjoyed putting this talk together and adding all this thinking and systems, whatever I'm reading and learning about it. And I mean, like, so since the time I've learned about it, like, it's given me a different perspective of looking at the problems, and even if putting this talk together. So I hope, like, I'm able to, like, facilitate or instigate, like, or take a little about this subject to all of you. So yeah, thank you so much for having me here.
awesome. Thank you. Thanks, Neha. With this, let me talk about the episode 4. Yes, we are bringing the episode 4 on June 19th, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. IST. We have an exciting speaker who's going to talk about casual inference powered by knowledge graphs for applied security research. So do join us on June 19th for an amazing session. Well, I missed out on one more thing, which is the APAC training series, which went live recently. You can find all the details on our meetup groups. It's available on all the meetup groups. So we are doing a three-part training series on starting on May 25th with introduction to Neo4j. Then on June 14th on intermediate cipher and data modeling, and then on June, wait, what's the date? I forgot. Sorry, my bad. We are doing a third series on knowledge graphs on June 22nd, if I'm not wrong. One second. It is. Um, the June 14 is. Okay, sorry. June June 1st is what we are doing the intermediate cipher and data modeling, and June 14th is what we are doing a session on knowledge graphs with ChatGPT. That's going to be the most exciting one. But if you are new to graphs, you don't know about Neo4j, I'll strongly recommend joining us from the first session itself on May 25th. Make sure you register for the session. All the details are available on our meetup pages. With this, let's end the show today. Thank you so much for weighing us, for spending so much of your time for an hour with us. And I look forward to meeting you soon. See you all. Bye.